Welcome back.
I'm sitting on a couch. It's green and plaid and old-looking. I recognize it from when I was little. Also from the old home movie memory thing I watched with Duma just maybe 20 minutes ago before I woke up, watched some stuff and then passed right back out. Where am I? I ask.
You're home. Don't you recognize it?
Yeah, I recognize it, but it can't be real. Is this the veil again? Or something else? Am I dreaming? Or dead? The two seem so similar these days, it's confusing. The someone else talking is next to me on the couch. Taking a gander means to look at someone. It also means to grab a boy goose. I don't know why the same phrase is used for both these things, but it is. English makes no sense sometimes. Pasher, I sigh. He smiles at me. His teeth are perfect. Too perfect. I wonder if he has fake teeth like a movie star. What if Lisa Welch's dad gave them to him? That's ridiculous, of course. Maybe he really has no teeth, so he wears fake ones to look normal. After all, why would angels need teeth? Teeth are for eating. Angels don't eat. Come to think of it, Duma has teeth too. Maybe angels do eat. That begs the question, what do angels eat? What do angels eat? I ask Pasher. He grins.
I've missed you, Lily.
I've missed you too. I can't look at him. Not because his eyes burn like fiery diamonds. He was nice enough to wear dark sunglasses so as not to blind me. I can't look at him because I'm ashamed of what I've done. I let a demon free from hell. Because of me, it ruined several people's lives. It turned Mr. Donovan into a mindless TV-consuming zombie. Although maybe he was already that. It turned Mrs. Donovan into a fungus and then a pair of dogs, at least one of which is dead now. She definitely wasn't any of those things before. It even fed a woman to those very dogs and sliced the fingers off David Clark. Who knows what else it will do if I don't get home and send it back. Pasher puts his arms over the back of the couch like my father used to do when he was relaxing and watching a movie. I'm pretty sure he's doing it precisely because it reminds me of that. Nothing Pasher says or does is unintentional. Take his clothes, for example. He's dressed exactly like his totem, in a black vest and pants with a white shirt underneath and perfectly knotted tie. I would wager that if I touched the vest, it would feel soft as felt, just like the one my Nana made for the doll. I'm not going to touch it, though. Touching other people's clothes without permission is rude. Pasher looks across the room at the old TV we used to have. It's got 2 dials and rabbit ears and had been in the family for longer than I could remember until one day while Roger and I were watching Sunday morning cartoons, there was this pop sound and the screen went black and smoke wafted out the top of the set. Then we had to get a new one with a fancy remote and no rabbit ears.
What are we going to do, Lily?
Pasher asks. I don't know if it's a rhetorical question or not. He cocks his head briefly at me and then looks away again.
That's not a rhetorical question.
It may not be a rhetorical question, but it's incredibly vague. Does he want to play a board game or solve world hunger? I don't know. What are we going to do about what? He sits forward and puts his hands in his lap, still not looking at me.
You are in a vast ocean of fog, little one. Far from shore. It was there, and then it wasn't. Every choice you've made has taken you further from land. I can't row you home. Only you can. All I can do is shine and hope you see the light and aim true.
That's an analogy, isn't it? I mutter. I hate analogies. They're like rectal thermometers. Trying to use one correctly can be a pain in the ass.
Technically, it's a metaphor.
I hate those too. They're just garbage.
What I'm trying to say is that you have strayed too far from the word, Lily.
Pasher says in a voice he reserves for when he's very disappointed in me and not concerned with letting me know it. Like the many times I almost died because I didn't listen to his advice. Maybe I should have died one of those times. I'm not saying I wish I had, but what if I was meant to, but something or someone prevented it?
I can't help you get back on track except by providing the guidance you once rejected. He continues. It's up to you to follow that guidance, but you should know this. Your gift won't work out there. I can't show you what will happen as long as you are this far off the trail. You may have noticed that things aren't so clear anymore. As long as you insist on resisting the word, it will be this way.
He may have the sunglasses on, but I can still feel his eyes burning into my face. Or maybe it's my cheeks burning. He reaches down and touches the top of my head. Just slightly, like a gentle touch, and then he pulls it away. Not my head, but his hand. My head stays put.
I don't want to lose you to this fog. The Potastates have made a judgment, though. You must return, or it will be interpreted as your rejection of the gift and returned to the original owner.
You mean Roger, I say. Roger was the original knife that cuts the blah blah blah.
Yes, Roger.
As if he's Beetlejuice, Roger walks in the front door of the house. He looks ratty as ever. Even his black sleeveless shirt says rat on it with 2 T's because I guess somebody doesn't know how to spell. His hair is dark and slicked back and he's got a permanent sneer carved into his face.
Somebody say my name?
He says in a Fonzie Fonzarelli kind of way. He pulls a comb out of his back pocket and combs his hair even though there was no reason to. And then he sticks it back in his back pocket, dripping wet. I want to jump to my feet, but I kind of can't. I hate being stuck to the couch and the floor like this. Instead, I sort of lurch and flop back like a suffocating fish. What are you doing here? I ask him. You were right there by me when I fell asleepy sleep. That was like 1 minute ago. Come to think of it, I didn't last long at all in the waking world. I got to be alert for like 1 chapter of my life, watch a bunch of weird stuff go down, and then passed right the blankety-blank out. I was really hoping to get up and walk around, maybe not die for a bit. Life sucks. Roger side-eyes me and then looks at Pasher and shrugs. I don't like how casually he acts around Pasher, but then I have to remember that he knew Pasher before I did.
It's been like 2 hours since I saw you,
he says with a snort like a bull.
You got carted away with that ugly cat doll you got your friend's ghost stuffed in, and I got dragged away by your friend Defective Gumby into the police station for an interview. I asked if I could clean up real quick in the bathroom. All I had to do was open a door by myself and I was scot-free. He'll never even know what happened. Time works differently in the Vale, Lily.
Pasher reminds me. I wish I knew exactly how different. Last time I was gone for days, and it seemed like I was missing for a week in the real world. But there I was physically in the Vale. Now I'm just unconscious. But time seems to be running faster out there anyway. None of it makes sense to me. Pasher stands up and walks to the center of the room. He gestures to Roger, who has a seat in the old recliner my mom used to sit in and do cross-stitching projects while the rest of us watch TV.
Let's not waste more time,
Pasher says, his tone no longer gentle.
Lily, where is Furfur?
I trapped him in an egg. Pasher and Roger are quiet. In my closet, I specify, in case they were waiting for me to tell them which egg in the entire world is currently housing a demonic spirit. Roger's the first to say something.
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how effing cool it is that my own sister summoned a demon from hell. It is not cool.
Roger leans forward in the recliner and almost tips out of it.
I mean, obviously not to an angel, but if me and my buds had known you could legitimately summon a demon by reading a book, we'd probably have gone to the library more.
He grins at me, winks, and gives me a big thumbs up.
You're still an ass face, but I gotta give it to you on that.
Roger is being strangely nice to me. It makes me wonder if there's some residual Meredith inside him causing it.
What were you going to do with the egg?
Pasher asks. I feel that deep sense of shame boiling inside me again like a furnace in my tummy. I was going to torture the demon until it agreed to help me bring my parents back. I look at Roger, who seems dumbfounded by this explanation. I mean, our parents.
Mom and Dad aren't in hell, dumbass,
Roger says with a laugh. He leans back into the recliner and starts picking his nose as he talks.
I got to see them as they passed through on their way to the... whatever it's called. Elysium,
Pasher remarks.
Yeah, that place.
Pasher folds his arms together.
Elysium and the pit are nothing alike and nowhere remotely close to each other, even in the Vale where all places are connected. Asking a demon to help you rip someone out of Elysium will be akin to asking a tour guide from San Francisco to show you around Paris. I trust you understand that analogy.
Well, I wasn't getting any help from you, I snapped. It was because of you and Joviel and Nathaniel that our parents, are dead to begin with. They died because I did what you guys told me to do. Roger looks at Pasher. Did he not know this? Did he think it was just me and my fault that Mom and Dad were killed? And you knew it was going to happen, too. I finished my thought. Because I followed your precious word. You knew that telling me to use Joviel's totem would kill them.
Is that true?
Roger asks. His eyes dart back and forth like he's reading an invisible book. Pasher lets his arms fall to their sides. He hangs his head quietly for a moment. I can see the bright light behind his sunglasses dim ever so slightly.
Yes, it's true,
he says finally. All of my old feelings of anger and hatred for him come churning back up. They must have been hiding in my lower intestines or something. They burn in my throat. They taste like sour candy on my tongue. I feel ready to breathe fire. I want to bathe him in it. Just torch the shit out of him.
It was never supposed to happen like this,
Pasher says softly, clenching his fists.
But once the path was set, I could not alter it again.
What does that mean? I ask. You know what one of my biggest pet peeves is? When people talk all vague and expect you to understand, or ask them what they mean rather than just tell you what they meant in the first place. Angels are the worst about it, I think. Everything has to be secretive and mysterious with them. They can't just say, Lily, you gotta go pet that dog. They always phrase it like, Lily, sometimes the most important thing in life is to take a moment to relax and enjoy the finer things. Like, what if that means go pet the dog? None of it. I think what I'm trying to say is I wish I could be petting a dog right now.
It means that there was a different path once. You've both seen it. We showed it to you. It was on that path that Roger had the gift. But he didn't want it. Just like you don't want it now.
It's not that I don't want it. I just want to not be constantly having to deal with monsters and maniacs and ghosts and stuff. Also, I kind of don't like knowing everything about a person the moment I see them. At least not the weird, unimportant, or depressing stuff, you know? Pasher holds both his hands out. Does he want me to take them? I start to reach. No, he puts them back down. I feel silly for thinking he wanted to hold hands. Stupid.
We changed the path in order to allow the gift to move to you, Lily. But that came with consequences.
Roger suddenly lurches forward.
Wait a second, are you saying it's my fault?
Pasher shakes his head.
It's nobody's fault.
It's somebody's fault.
Roger's face turns red.
Someone decided the path. It's not just randomly written. That's the whole point of it existing. Someone had to have made the decision to punish us for this.
Pasher suddenly looks worried. I can't see his eyes, of course, but his forehead wrinkles up like adults' foreheads do when they're expressing concern or worry. I guess kids worry the same way, but we got less skin on our foreheads, it seems like. We can't just wrinkle it up the way adults do. Roger keeps yelling.
And I died too. I didn't get to live a complete life, all because I rejected your gift.
He throws finger quotes at the word like he's implying it's not really a gift.
Roger,
Pasher pauses. He looks lost. Maybe it's the words that are lost. He'll find them. He always does.
I know how awful it seems. I never wanted this for you. Never. I just wanted to help you. The moment I saw the new word, I was devastated. I asked to take it back. I went up as high as I could and begged them to change it back, but it was too late.
Roger slumps back in his chair and gives off death stares.
Well, at least you're going to change it back now.
What does that mean for me? I ask. If we go back to Roger having the gift, do our parents undie? Does our house unexplode? Does Meredith come back too? I see something shiny on Pasher's pale cheek. Another one appears from under his glasses. The two shinies meet and glomp together and then run down to his chin. The two shinies meet and glomp together and then run down to his chin. He's crying.
It means that you will get to be with your parents again,
He says.
but it will be in Elysium. Roger will take your place in the living world. Some minor edits will most likely be made to fix the situation as it currently stands, and so that nobody remembers Roger's passing away.
That's not what I want.
Lily,
No! I feel my legs tense up, but they still refuse to let me get to my feet. I can't even wiggle my toes, and believe me, I am wiggling them furiously. They are like a mob of 10 angry villagers wiggling in range as they start to riot against Dr. Frankenstein. That's an analogy. I just thought it up. Roger jumps to his feet as if to rub it in my face that he even can. He storms over to the couch I'm on, ignoring Pasher's hand as it reaches for him to try to guide him back to his chair. He whips his index finger right in my face and nearly jabs me in the eye with it.
Listen, ass face.
He snarls.
You royally screwed the pooch and now it's my turn.
I don't know where he got the idea that I had sex with a dog, but the fact that he apparently wants a turn at it is even more disturbing.
Everyone around you is miserable and or dead. You want to see mom and dad again? Go see them. Go be happy in that fancy-ass place and thank your stars you didn't end up laying in a rotting corpse in the dark, trapped in limbo for who knows how long.
Roger.
Pasher puts his hand on Roger's shoulder. Roger slaps it away.
Don't touch me.
He glares down at me.
When are you going to stop being so damn selfish? You have the greatest gift in the world and you go around pouting and using it for petty shit.
It feels like someone is tugging at my guts. That's not a metaphor. It straight up feels like my guts are being physically tugged on. I almost expect to be able to lift my shirt and see my gut shifting around under my skin like fat snakes in a happy snake pile, or an angry snake pile. I don't lift up my shirt and look at my tummy, though, because my brother is screaming in my face about how I should just give up and die, and I think if I take a glance at my tummy, he'll just get angrier that I'm not listening, even though I am. Pasher steps up behind Roger again.
Roger.
Give me back my life! Roger.
Pasher's voice echoes. There's a strange power to it. I've never heard him speak like this before, and it makes all my arm hair stand at attention. Roger feels it too. He stiffens up. His hands fall away from being right in my face and his arms go rigid just like the rest of his body. He stares straight ahead, past me and the couch, frozen like a statue.
Go sit down,
Pasher commands. Roger turns, or more like he rotates really, and stiff-leggedly walks back to the recliner, rotates again, and plops down in it. After a moment, his body suddenly relaxes and he slumps back into the chair. He looks around confused. What the hell? Pasher turns back to me, wiping away the tears that had run down his cheeks. He doesn't smile.
Lily, do you want to go be with your parents?
I don't know what to say. It feels like a trick question. Do I want to be with my parents? Yes. Do I want to be dead? No. What was it my Uncle George said at my cousin Susie's funeral? The dead know only one thing. It is better to be alive. I don't think those were his words. They sounded like something he read in a book. I don't, I say, surprising even myself. At least not yet. I want to get to be a grown-up first. Otherwise, my entire life will have been getting treated like a little kid without ever getting to be the one treating kids like little kids. The gut-pulling pain gets sharper and more intense. I almost want to double over and clutch my stomach and maybe dig my fingers into myself and just remove my guts altogether so they stop hurting.
That's not fair,
Roger yells.
We had a deal.
Pasher turns his head and looks at him.
Be quiet.
Roger's mouth snaps shut. His eyes bug out and his whole face turns deep beet red. Pasher brushes off his black felt suit even though it wasn't the tiniest bit dirty. As a matter of fact, I don't think I see a single speck of dust even floating in the air. This room, despite being a seemingly perfect recreation of my family's living room, is just too clean. It feels fake, like I'm looking at a set or a television sitcom. I Love Lily, maybe.
Go get Fur, he
says to me.
You will also need blessed water. Once you have both, I will give you the words to recite to send him back to the pit.
I promise to fix this, I say. Pasher nods.
I know you will. Oh, and Lily, before I forget, one other thing.
Uh-oh. Always one other thing with people. What?
You've got Raziel trapped. I need you to release him.
Raziel? What? How do I have Raziel trapped? I haven't even seen Raziel since he showed up in my dreams to show me that film about Roger being the original knife, that blah blah blahs. And then he said he'd be with me to help me get away from Tony the child stabber and... Pasher can see I'm confused. He comes toward me and places a gentle touch on top of my head again.
I can feel him in there, in the back of your mind like a fleeting ghost. He's trapped inside a cave, one not built by you. It is the work of Furfur, most likely. A means to repress your soul when you allowed him to possess you. But now that same trap holds dear Raziel hostage. You must let him out.
How do I do that? I ask. Roger makes an angry groan through his closed mouth and sends me stink eyes and death stares.
Let your mind go.
He says it like not thinking is so easy. My brain never wants to shut off. I think about things constantly. Hell, I'm thinking about not thinking right now. I can't stop thinking about not thinking. Even when I'm asleep, I don't get a break from thinking. Especially now when sleeping is the same as being awake. Just I'm stuck in the veil for the eternity of it. The sharp pain in my gut seemed to dwindle. Now it feels like someone is grabbing the skin on either side of my abdomen and trying to scrunch it all up together in the middle. I clench my teeth and squeeze my eyes shut to try to get past it. Pasher sees my expression and says,
They're stitching you up in the living world. You'll most likely wake up soon. I understand it's probably too difficult to empty your mind right this moment, what with the pain, and especially with everything I just told you. But once this is over, we will release Raziel together. In the meantime, let him continue to help as he can. I'd say his efforts to assist you thus far have paid off rather well.
What are you talking about? I managed to say through the pain. He didn't help me at all. I got stabbed and nearly died.
Yes, but that's how Raziel operates.
Pasher chuckles. I'm glad he thinks this is all so funny. Not.
Once you were hidden away, Raziel acted as a beacon, drawing your brother and Meredith to you, then the transformed Teresa Donovan, and even Andrew Guthrie. You would not have been found in time if Raziel had not guided those who care about you to you, which he could only do because it was a secret.
I sigh. Lucky me. I look over at Roger, stewing in our mom's recliner, looking like he's trying to gnaw through an invisible rope. What about him?
Who, Roger?
Pasher gives him a passing glance.
I'll have to talk to Metatron. We'll figure something out. It's hard to say right this moment since we're so deep in the woods, lost from the path and the word. Once you make things right, I'll know better what the word has in store for your brother. Obviously, his story is not yet over.
What about... I was going to say Meredith, but I stopped because I'm no longer looking at Pasher. I'm looking up at some yellowing ceiling tiles and ugly hospital lights. Something is beeping in my ear, and I know it's one of those machines that tracks my heart rate and such.
Oh, Lily!
I hear an excited female voice say my name with excitement. It's Mrs. Lake, sitting beside my hospital bed. She's got knitting needles and a handbag, and she seems to be knitting a scarf or something into the handbag. At least she was. Now she's setting them down and taking my hand and squeezing it.
You're awake! Oh, sweet child, I thought we'd lost you.
She doesn't hug me, which is good because I still feel absolutely crappy and don't want someone squeezing me for fear my insides will squish out the hole in me Tony made. Welcome back, Lily! I hear Meredith squeak. She's sitting on a nearby rolling cart, along with some little pill cups and a bunch of magazines Mrs. Lake must have brought with her to read because they're about great housekeeping and other weird hobbies. Thanks, I managed to grunt out. Mrs. Lake pets my arm.
You're welcome.
I don't tell her I was talking to my haunted cat doll.
Fall is finally here, and it's finally cooling down, which means it's time for you guys to get yourself a hot cup of tea. My wife happens to sell tea. Etsy.com/shop/ivory-monocle-tea sells different teas that are inspired by nerdy-based things, as well as a bunch of new teas that are available for the Halloween season. My personal favorite, the one that I drink whenever I'm recording, is Dark and Stormy Night. It has a little MrCreepyPasta symbol on it, and if you ask, you can get a little MrCreepyPasta dabbing sticker. Also, anytime that you order one of those, you actually get my autograph on a little card, so if you want that, hey, you can get that. And finally, I want to give a huge thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon. So I want to give a very special thank you to Jordan Humble, Diana Kraus, Disciple, Strategy Wolf Emoji, SullyMan, Brandon Mendoza, BrimstonePandemonium, Caltuna, William Wellington, Scruffy the Janitor, Brenna LaQueda Canizales, Smiley the Psychotic, Djenna, Dante Kinkade, SimbasBloodyMojo, Mephistopheles, CursepoxPrimarch, M, Jesus Cornejo, Yarghoul, VerbalHorror, Amber Clark, J. Kearns, Mike, himbojerry, CrusaderChocobo, Corbin Dallas, Estebean, Seclude, Salty Surprise, Red Shadowcat, Turtleman, Cryolinian, Mr. Marcus Blitz, Dirt Diver 030, Voice of Sand, Psychomel, Melted Lake, Tali Sue, William King, Sashi Suzaku, Croconut 509, Stricken, Freddy Krueger, Hades Nephew, Acid System, Sky Harbor, Nico Kyle, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Polson, and Corey Kenshin. I really appreciate your support, and I cannot thank you enough. I wish you all the best. Sweet dreams.